Infant survival at sea is an alarming aspect of the Ghanaian socio-economic structure. This is more prevalent in the Jamestown community. Jamestown possesses rich history and culture that attracts many tourists. However, behind the scenes, there is a dark reality that many people are not aware of. Many children in Jamestown are forced to work long hours in dangerous conditions, which have serious consequences for their health and well-being. These children are exposed to many risks, including working with sharp tools and being exposed to harmful chemicals. They also have many needs that are not being met, such as access to education and healthcare. As a society, we have a responsibility to provide these children with the care and protection they need to thrive. Through this documentary, we hope to shed light on the risks and challenges that these children face on a daily basis. We also hope to inspire action and encourage people to get involved in efforts to support these vulnerable children and provide them with the care and protection they deserve.
The Jamestown community is known for its fishing culture, history, and scenery. The population of Jamestown has been increasing, as indicated by the recently concluded population census of 2021. The community is comprised of various vulnerable groups, including children, women, and persons with disabilities. As the population grows, the numbers of these vulnerable groups rise. However, fishing remains the sole source of livelihood, despite the significant growth in population and needs. Consequently, many vulnerable groups, including children, are compelled to compete for the survival and protection. Unfortunately, the needs and protection of children at the shores of Jamestown receive little attention. Children face insurmountable challenges as they strive to meet their basic needs and find support. They rely on their small boats and fishing nets to satisfy their hunger. The sea's restless waves provide them solace and shelter during the cold nights. However, their cries for education, proper health care, and overall protection and care go unnoticed by the public.
Kofi reflects on the loss of his brother to the sea. According to him, he still hasn't healed from the trauma caused by that event. He recounts a heavy storm that occurred while they were trying to catch fish for sale. Their boat was very small and couldn't withstand the storm and tumultuous waves. Eventually, their boat capsized and his brother drowned. Kofi fortunately was rescued by another team at sea. Despite the ongoing trauma, he continues to work as a fisherman because he believes it is the only way to provide for himself and his siblings.
The children on the shores of Jamestown do not have life easy. For many of such children, this is how life goes. One must be up by 1 a.m. and set to sea by 2 in order to stand a chance to find much. In order to keep up with the timing and unavailable shelter, they would just sleep on the partitions of their boats and canoes to also keep their property safe. These children suffer hardships on a daily basis. They are deprived of rest and forced into hard labor, way more than their fragile bodies can handle. They are made to carry very heavy equipment and life-risking activities. These children are also made to drop out of school, usually as a result of poverty, and so there doesn't seem to be any hope for the situation. Others drop out of school by the instruction of their parents. These children are raised in fear and unsafety, so much that they are unsure of what the future holds, if there should be any at all. By the testimony of Kwesi, I had more friends than I do now when I first arrived here. Now I just have a few. Some left, some traveled, and some were taken by the sea, and I never got to see them again. He drew our minds to how dangerous the situation is and expressed fear, knowing very well it was a possible scenario for him too. Looking on his knee, we noticed some major injuries. He explained them to be as a result of the boat's starting motor. Other risks are also the prevalence of social vices. In the course of our interviews, we were made aware that fish has its seasons, but man has to feed daily. For this reason, social vices seem to be a very possible venture for survival as well, since there seems to be some rampant theft activity on the shore. These children are exposed to rape, sodomy, kidnapping, and even murder due to the high parental negligence rate. These children seem to have plebe dreams due to the absence of formal education. What any of these children could be in future is to fish, because that is all they have been trained to be, even though Kwame expressed interest in medicine. Trauma is another issue of alarm. Most of these children are traumatized. Kwame testifies that he sees dead bodies at sea, and the sight does not go easy with him. He is also bullied by the grown-ups and provoked so much that he comes to tears, no matter how much defense he masters. He says to us, it is not easy out here. Most of these kids sleep on the boats and are exposed to many diseases, such as malaria, typhoid, pneumonia, and even respiratory diseases, due to the filth that surrounds the shores. Kwesi again, during our interaction, explains and confesses that they are made to abuse drugs to keep up their energy levels for the daunting task ahead. This involves paracetamol, caffeinated drinks, tramadol, and also hard drugs to conceal their weaknesses. As the saying goes, the show must go on.
Children who work in Jamestown often have their dreams and aspirations cut off short due to poverty and lack of access to education. Many children in the community work to support their families, often at the expense of their health and well-being. For example, a child may have aspiration to become a doctor, but their father may ask them to join him at shore to fish and cater for the family. The child may be forced to abandon his dreams and work long hours in dangerous conditions. It is not uncommon for a child to say, "I wish to go to school, but I have to work to support my family." This cycle of poverty and lack of education often leads to child labor and exploitation. Protecting these children requires a multifaceted approach. Legal frameworks such as the ACLWC, the Children's Act of Ghana, and the UNCRC makes it illegal for children under the age of 15 to work, except for light work that does not affect their health, education, or development. Law enforcement agencies, such as the police, are responsible for enforcing these laws. Sensitizing parents of these children on the need to enroll them in schools is also a protective measure that can be taken. It is important to empower parents to understand the value of education, to provide them with alternative sources of income to support their families. Additionally, providing these children with access to education and healthcare can help break the cycle of poverty that often leads to child labor. It is also important to provide these children with vocational training and job opportunities that are safe and age appropriate. By doing so, we can help children in Jamestown achieve their dreams and break the cycle of poverty that often leads to child labor. Over the years, child labor has been a popular discussion that has drawn the attention of many researchers. However, despite the numerous attempts to combat this phenomenon, it still exists in our society, and this is the basis of our documentary, accurately and duly represented, the infant's survival at sea.